Welcome to the Promoting Educational Partnerships for Learning series. These segments have been created by the Regional Professional Development Schools program in the Seidel School of Education and Professional Studies at Salisbury University in Salisbury, Maryland. The following segment on co-teaching with college student interns will highlight the many benefits and long-term rewards that a collaborative internship experience can bring to everyone involved. This segment depicts real classroom examples that feature co-planning and co-teaching. When it comes down to it, we all know that as teachers and mentors, our goal is to help students become successful learners. Co-teaching in a collaborative internship is a value-added approach to successful teaching and learning.
This. And the main goal of today is when we finally leave here is want to know what we're going to do before, so we have all that, and then we'll get down to the actual implementation and the after part, but we want to make sure we come away from this so everybody knows what their role is when we go out and actually start securing the resources.
Co-teaching doesn't just happen. It starts with deliberate, thoughtful planning. In this scenario, the mentor, his intern, a methods candidate, and the university supervisor make use of their planning period to brainstorm and develop a quad lesson, with each person contributing ideas and suggesting refinements. Genuine collaboration at the planning stage ensures ownership of the lesson by all parties and supports ambitious, creative, and well-organized instruction.
I'll do the lesson objective.
Okay, and our objective is going to be, I think, what is the objective?
The impact of the Great Depression on the American people.
Okay, all right. And Scott, I know on live text, I know Dr. Jenny has that live text template that you guys utilize in methods class.
Yeah, we use that all the time. I'll be
Okay.
able to get the NCSS, I'll be able to get the Maryland standards,
Okay,
and the
excellent.
technology standards.
First thing I want to do today, guys, is I'll start off by introducing everybody that's here. You should recognize a couple of people up here. We've got Mr. Urick, who's been your student intern for the last 7 weeks. Mr. Sires is from Salisbury University. You might recognize him also because he used to be here at Mardella High School as a ninth grade world history teacher. And you have Ms. Kneebone, who will be, she's a student observer now. She's been in a few times, but she will be coming back next year as my student intern, replacing Mr. Urick for next year. Today's lesson, and we've gone over a little bit of this about what we're expecting from you throughout this lesson prior to this class. But what we're looking at to do today is look for the impact of the Great Depression. We want to see what the effect was on the American public, how it directly affected them, and what we've been discussing. And today is going to be more of an interactive lesson for you, which is a great one. All right? Okay, good.
Okay.
We're ready.
Mr. Chair, do you want to add something?
Yeah,
Hang on just a minute, Chef. We'll pass those out. Thank you.
Throughout this lesson, the main objective is that we're going to relate the severity of the Depression and its effects on the American people in the 1930s. We've gone over that objective before, but that's the main thing I want you guys to pull from this lesson.
We're going to model for you. What I want you to do is I want you to pick up your clicker right now, and I want you to click in the letter of what you selected off of your grade sheet. Okay. I want you to listen to what we're actually doing on this, so that when we start the activity, that we'll all have a good idea of how we actually want you to perform. Okay. All right. What do we have? I have no idea what we're doing.
All right. Well, the first thing we got to do is we have to go into our folder and get out our document. Yeah, and everybody can get a document.
Well,
Absolutely.
no, don't touch the pencils yet. First, we got to do this.
Okay. All right. I'm with you. I forgot. Sorry.
Can you read the directions?
Sure. For each station, select the theme that it represents. Describe what you see, hear, and feel as if you were there. Finally, describe how that station represents the theme that you have chosen. So the first thing we need to do is take the artifact out and take a look at it. And then I'll ask you a question about it.
It doesn't say what theme it is.
Well, you got to describe. Yeah.
We have to figure it out.
First, we got to describe what we see, what we hear, and what we feel.
Okay.
All right.
I'm sorry.
As you guys can see, what you need to do is based on previous knowledge as well as some of the stuff you've learned in the last 2 weeks that we've been dealing with the Great Depression. Just think through 5 different effects associated with the Great Depression that happened in the United States during the 1930s. So it can cover any aspect. It can be personal, it could be political, social, economic, And if you can't think of 5, that's fine.
Yeah, do it individually. This is not a group assignment yet.
Now, the next thing that we're going to do, okay, Ms. Nebo and Ms. Shirt, Mr. Shirt, are going to now pass you out the green matrix. You'll recognize the green one as it comes around because the green matrix is going to be the one where you are going to identify the common themes.
So notice the themes are the same ones that you came up with from your warm-up. The only one that you didn't come up with, I don't believe that anybody said specific government programs, but you mentioned the presidents and you mentioned the concepts and ideas in some of your descriptions of what the presidents did, which is good because that's what we're going to be going into. You're going to be deciding a lot about what the president does. You're going to notice that you're going to be siding with one president more than another. And watch, it'll happen. Okay? That's the good thing that's going to come out of this.
All right,
Now,
you guys are working in pairs, so you need to work as a group, as a cooperative group. Each member has to do their own part and discuss it with the person next to them.
Does that make sense?
There's 7 choices, A through G. There are 7 choices up on the screen here. Okay, so you have to fill one of these in there after you read and analyze the artifacts.
Share the artifacts with your partner. Sure,
Okay.
I'll graze back here until they finish.
What do you got? Oh, good.
Stock market crash. Black Tuesday. Black Tuesday.
Before they do that, let them look at the last. They know enough information. Let them look at the gray sheet and answer the last one that they needed to do. Yeah.
Yeah, then what you also want to do on your matrix is go ahead and fill in the theme for the one that you didn't get to, because you know what it is.
And then go ahead and answer what you think for the gray matrix. It's okay to do that.
Yes.
They have enough prior knowledge.
That's right. You can do the gray matrix. Then we're going to do the turning points here. Okay, Mr. Wainwright.
All right. For unemployment, we talked about the problems with unemployment in 1933. I'm just going to hit some highlights for you guys, okay? In 1933, I want you to know that the unemployment rate was 25% for America.
What I want you to do is I want you to pick up your clicker right now, and I want you to click in the letter of what you selected off of your gray sheet. And Mr. Harris will go through this.
Yeah, the stock market crashed on Black Tuesday on October 29th, 1929. What I want you to pull from this is the causes and the effects of the stock market crash. On that day, 16.4 million shares were sold, and investors lost $30 billion in their money.
What was the primary goal for delivering today's quad lesson? Where literally all 4 of you, mentors, SV supervisor, intern, and methods candidate, were fully engaged in instruction?
Well, I've been teaching for 23 years, and I think the biggest difference that this is involving this part of the lesson would be in doing the lesson with everybody. I think that I was a little skeptical about using 4 people in a lesson, actually even co-teaching. I struggled with that because for years it was a student teacher would come and you'd give them plans and show them how to do it and give them and then hand the classroom right over. But this has kind of been a great situation. Co-teaching has really helped, I think, not only the intern, but it's really helped me. I mean, it's really given me a lot more, I think, motivation in the classroom. I think it's really helped Scott during the teaching procedures of the classroom and me being there. I think that's helped a lot. But all 4 of us with the quad lesson was incredible. I think that got everybody involved. I think the students were really motivated by it, by seeing all the activities and everybody getting involved in the lesson themselves.
So basically, you were skeptical and you needed a little extra coaxing or some modeling to help you really get it, understand it, and buy into it.
Sure, yes. In the very beginning, I was all about the old ways of doing it. And recently with Mr. Sires coming in and giving us some lesson on how to co-teach and giving us some ideas and concepts, and then coming in and doing the quad lesson, that was just totally incredible.
Excellent. Okay. How
about from your perspective?
I would just say from my perspective as the university supervisor, I think it makes more of an impact both for Mr. Wainwright and for Scott and for Mary Sarah to actually see the implementation of the true partnership between the university and the public school systems. And the PDS system as it is set up is supposed to be a truly collaborative partnership. And as I was kind of thinking about the co-teaching model, and I'd finished the mentor training. I'm the liaison here at this school for Mardella, and I thought this might even be a better way for me to kind of actively get involved and actively engage in the co-teaching lesson. Mr. Wainwright was very receptive to the idea, as was Scott. And then we kind of sat around and brainstormed and said, well, we have Mary Sarah now coming out here as the methods candidate, who eventually will be an intern, who I will supervise as well. And I thought this could be the actual ideal way to really model what co-teaching is about, kind of give them some ideas of how to do the planning and actually the implementation of the project. And I want to echo what Mr. Wainwright said. I absolutely agree that when I was a mentor, I also found myself becoming more motivated when I co-taught with another person. It inspired me to get maybe more involved. The lesson that we did here took a lot of time, a lot of planning, but there was motivation on all four parts to actually do that, and we really look forward to the lesson. And I think the impact that it certainly had on the students, because that is the number one goal of the PDS partnership, is to impact student learning.
And your comments lead right into the next question, which, today's lesson involved a lot of different components. There was some cooperative learning strategies, there was a lot of technology with Turning Point and the PowerPoint itself, the laptops, the stations, and that's a lot to orchestrate. So, to do a quad lesson, what did it take to orchestrate something like that?
It took a lot of, we had to meet 3 or 4 times ahead of time, just trying to plan out how we're going to meet all these different standards, how we're going to incorporate a lot of different dimensions of learning into it so that we can kind of meet all the different students. We had to figure out how to get the laptops in there, how to do the Turning Point issues, and how to deal with some of the laptops who weren't working in the middle of the classroom.
Some major planning for a candidate. How about you?
Yeah, a lot like what she was saying, a lot of the planning that went into it. As an intern, it gave me an opportunity to learn a lot of different things, like how to get the laptops in the classroom, how to incorporate different stations into the lesson. And he taught me a bunch of different things using those strategies in the classroom. So it helped me that way. And it gave us different resources, like Mr. Sires, he has a lot of different resources that we don't have at the school, and Mr. Wainwright, he has his resources within the school, and then even Ms. Nebo, she has her own resources that she can pull into the lesson. So it makes it a more well-rounded lesson.
Excellent. So given the fact that co-teaching on such a large scale as you did today in this quad setting is not the norm, and we realize that no teacher is going to be able to do this type of lesson on a daily basis, whether they're teaching it independently or whether they're in a co-teaching environment like you were today. So then the question becomes, what benefits could there possibly be to doing something of this nature if in fact it's not the norm? So I want to start and I want to say, what were the benefits for you? You sort of touched on that already, but as an intern, how is this going to really help prepare you to be an educator?
It helps me prepare because it showed me the ways to plan the lesson and how to work cooperatively with different teachers. Like horizontal planning, I'm going to need to do that. So it helped me learn how to work in a group with different teachers. And it also helped me to bring in the resources, like I was saying.
Right, so it's learning how to use all available resources.
Yeah.
For instance, you may not have this exact setup when you're a classroom teacher, but it is quite possible that you'll have an assisted class. For example, in your experience here right now, are there ever times when you have an aide that comes in and assists, or a special educator or anything like that?
Yeah, we have a special educator or paraeducator that comes into one of our classrooms to help one of the kids that has disabilities. And working with her really helps because she can handle some parts of the lesson. Like we did with this, we had different parts of the lesson where we handled each part. And she can take some of the responsibility off of me so that she can take care of some of that.
Right, so all the students' needs are being met. So you're actually learning how to really collaborate no matter who the human resource is.
Yes.
How about you?
It really gave me an idea of what it's going to be like to be an intern next year. Right now, I just kind of sit in the back of the class and I observe the classroom and just try and look at different teaching strategies. But it helped me realize what's going to be in it for me in the future year. And it also, I learned a lot of skills just like thinking of warm-ups and reading that. And I had to write up one of the PowerPoints. And it showed me a lot about lesson planning that I didn't realize Like, I figured we'd meet for a couple hours and we'd be done, so it really showed me what goes in, how much background goes into each lesson, which I think will be really beneficial once I start student teaching.
Right, so you're getting these skills a lot earlier in your program.
Yeah.
And also, I'm sure it relieves some of the anxiety that you might have about what is it really going to look like
Yeah,
when I'm an
exactly.
intern. I know that this is probably comforting to you.
Yeah, it's been really great being able to watch him because I had no idea what student interns even did because we didn't have them in my high school. So it's been really good just seeing the whole process.
Excellent. Okay. How about from your perspective as the mentor? What kind of benefit are you going to pull from this?
Well, I think the biggest benefit from the whole lesson was they get to work together with not only me, also one-on-one, which usually is just Scott and I, but now with Mr. Sires coming in more often and that him being included in the lesson, that really, I think, helped get them a better understanding of what it's going to be like to teach. For me, it motivated me. I've been teaching a long time, and this has been a great experience working with everybody. It kind of kindles the fire a little bit in the education, I think, and I think it gives me more ideas and strategies that I want to use with my kids.
And how do you think, did it benefit your kids to do something like that?
Yeah, they're walking out of the classroom going, "That was great, Mr. Wainwright," and that's the biggest thing. When they tell you that a lesson's great, no, not many 17, 18-year-olds are going to walk by and go, "Thank you," but they did. They really did. They enjoyed it.
And this was an ambitious lesson. Would you have even tried to tackle this by yourself?
I think if we could have done it in pieces, there was a lot going on. And there was a lot of information. They had a great background. I think, which Mr. Sires said during the lesson, that was a good thing for them because they came in and they were ready to go after it. But yeah, I would like to use all the pieces of the lesson maybe on different days. But I like the idea of being able to pull it together at one time just because that was a great lesson.
Right. To sum it up, I think that everything that you've done and that you are doing together in this process, in this collaborative internship, is really to benefit those students in the seats. And that's really what it's all about. And you did a great job of illustrating that today. That's at the heart of what PDS is all about. It's what can we do together with this partnership to benefit pre-kindergarten through 12 learning. So I want to thank you for letting us come in and film you today. It's great. Thanks.
Thank you.
You've just seen a brief glimpse of what it looks like to co-teach with a student intern or candidate in your classroom. When the mentor teacher and the student intern remain engaged in instruction, there's no limit to learning, and the process doesn't have to be intimidating or complex. Did you notice in the video that co-teaching can be as simple as grazing and sharing the stage during lesson delivery? As you become more comfortable with the concept of co-teaching, you may desire to tackle more ambitious lessons or try activities with many moving parts. The sky is the limit when it comes to co-teaching possibilities. Take any good teaching strategy you already employ in your classroom, add an additional human resource, and the end result is sure to be effective. The main point to remember when you host a Salisbury University student intern is that the real focus is on improved learning for all. We want to help you and your school make a difference in learning for your students, while at the same time help us to prepare the next generation of outstanding teachers. It's a win-win for everyone involved.